Hello everybody, Big Bong here, and today let's talk about Esperanto. If you've never heard of it, it's the most widely spoken constructed language in the world. A constructed language is a language that has been artificially created rather than being the result of natural evolution through time and use. Elvish, the language of elves in Tolkien's work, Klingon imagined by Mark Okrand in Star Trek, or Dothraki created by David J. Pearson for Game of Thrones are all examples of constructed languages. Now, all of these languages were developed to nourish a fictitious universe. The purpose of Esperanto is slightly different. It was originally created in 1887 by a Polish ophthalmologist called Zamenhof. His dream was to bring humanity together through a common language that would transcend national rivalries. And more recently, it regained popularity when it became available on Duolingo and Google Translate. Now, if you're following this channel, you're probably interested in language learning. And if you already started studying one, then you should know what makes a language difficult, including all the grammatical rules and their exceptions. And the great thing about Esperanto is the fact that it's certainly the easiest language to learn. Actually, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because La Universala Congreso de Esperanto, or in English World Esperanto Congress, is taking place in a few days here in Montreal, Canada. It was postponed 2 years in a row for obvious reason you and I know too well. But back then, local Esperanto speakers gave me this small card that fits in a wallet, and believe it or not, but the main grammatical rules fit in it. So let's go over it, and by the end of this video you'll know the basic rules to start speaking Esperanto, and who knows, maybe join the Congress. Easy grammar. Nouns end in O, and they will always do. So for example, the word for apple is pomo. Pomo. The word for man is viro. The word for boy is knabo. By the way, it's also the case for feminine words. Actually, there is no masculine and feminine in Esperanto. It's always going to end with O. So for example, the word for woman is virino. Virino. Adjectives end in a. So for example, the word for good is bona. So a good apple, bona pomo. Adverbs end in e. So for example, the word for quickly is rapide. Plural marked by the ending j, but it's read y. So for example, apples would be pomoi. Direct object marked by the ending n. So apple becomes pomon. So I eat an apple would be mi manjas pomon. Or I eat apples, mi manjas pomoin. If I want to combine everything, I could say I quickly eat good apples. Mi rapide manjas bonain pomoin. All verbs are regular, so the infinitive ends with e. So for example, the verb to go, it would be iri, iri. Now if it's conjugated in the present tense, it becomes as. So for example, I go, mi iras. You go, vi iras. He, she goes, li, she iras. Now, if it's the past tense, then as becomes is. So, we went, ni iris, ni iris. Future tense, you will go. By the way, Esperanto is just like English. Vi is the same for singular and plural you. Vi iros, you guys will go. They would go, ili irus, ili irus. Fun prefixes and suffixes. Alright, they're obviously not all there, but it will give you a pretty good idea of how the language works. Varma for hot or warm. It's pretty similar to English. Varma. If you add the suffix et, which is a diminutive, it becomes varmeta. Varmeta. So lukewarm. Then there is bona, we saw earlier, and if you want to make it the opposite, you add the prefix mal. Malbona, which makes it bad, malbona. Arbo means tree. If you add the suffix ar, it's for the collection, it becomes arbaro, which means a forest, arbaro. Lerni means to learn, also very similar to English, and if you add the suffix a, it makes it a place. So lerneio, a school, lerneio, and you see lerni ends with e, so it's a verb. Lerneio ends with o, it's a noun. Okay, let's try this sentence I made up with the words we learned. Yesterday, we slowly ate lukewarm apples in a forest. Hierao ni malrapide manĝis varmetajn pomojn en arbaro. Regular spelling. Letters always represent the same sound. C in English can sometimes have the sound s, like in cells or celestial, or the sound k, like in calculator, cake. But in Esperanto, it's always going to sound ts. So s would be for s, and k would be for k. J, as we saw earlier, is going to pronounce y. There is no y in Esperanto. Then we have diacritics. So u with a little accent becomes w, like the English w. S with the accent becomes sh. J with the accent becomes j, like in vision. C with the accent, so we saw that without the accent it's ts. With the accent it becomes ch. So there is a difference between sh and ch. G is always going to be a hard one, like in get. If you want to make it sound like general or journal, you'll put an accent to it. And the vowels are pronounced like in Spanish. Easy speaking, so let's learn a few basic expressions, also to give you an idea of the sound and music of the language. Saluton. Saluton is hello or hi. Mia nomo estas Leslie. So literally, my name is Leslie. My name is Bong. Mia nomo estas Bong. Or bongo if I want to make a noun out of it. Mia nomo estas bongo. Kiel vi fartas? Kiel vi fartas? So kiel is how. How are you? Mi fartas bone. I'm good. I'm well. Mi fartas bone. Kie vi laboras? So kiel meant how. Now kie means where. Kie vi laboras? Where do you work? Kie vi laboras? Mi laboras en lernejo. So we learned lernejo, a school. I work in a school. Mi laboras en lernejo. Dankon. Thanks. Dankon. Dankon. Mi ne comprenas. Mi ne comprenas. I don't understand. Or if you want a closer translation in English, I don't comprehend. That's it for today, guys. If you want to keep practicing the language, you can do that on Duolingo, as I said, or on learnu.net. And if you're interested in World Esperanto Congress, I'll leave a link in the description. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to share and subscribe to support this channel. You can really make a difference. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon for more videos. Tschüss!